Hello and welcome to Awakening Adventures, where we will hear real stories from real people who have had their own spiritual awakening and what they chose to do with their newfound awareness. My name is Venus Castleberg, also known as the Home Whisperer, and I use my gifts to help real estate agents clear the energy from stuck homes so that they can sell with greater ease. I am really thrilled and excited to introduce our guest today, Mellissa Seaman is a Stanford educated former business lawyer turned intuitive leadership mentor, turned psychic as well. We'll talk
Truth.
more about that. Yeah. And she helps grounded spiritual awakening leaders to identify their soul gifts, open their intuitive powers, and grow their business with full alignment and ease, combining spiritual alignment and best practices marketing for the intuitively gifted professional. And I will say, I actually work with Mellissa. I have signed up for her programs and I highly, highly recommend them. They have changed everything in my business, even in my mindset of how I do business and how I think about my business, has completely changed. So without further ado, hello, Melissa, welcome.
Hi, Venus. I'm so happy to be here with you as always.
Yeah, you too. Well, let's start because it's Awakening Adventures. Let's start with lawyer turned psychic.
Yeah, what
How
the
did that
heck,
happen?
man? This
Yeah.
was like sometimes I call it my accidental awakening because I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't looking to become psychic to become a healer. I wasn't looking for that. I was quite pleased to be a business lawyer at the time. I had gone from litigation, preparing cases for trial, supporting in trial and litigation, business litigation, to more contracts and supporting women business owners of like brick and mortar businesses like one of my favorite clients had a large physical therapy business, for example, and I was doing work on partnerships and contracts and all the things that you have a business lawyer to do. And I loved it because I had a little baby. Colin was just, a little guy, like really little, like still breastfeeding. And so when my clients would call my home office, they would like hear the baby cooing or even nursing, and they'd be like, oh, I love that my lawyer is nursing. And so I'm like, this is the best of both worlds. Like, I got it all right now. I had a nice big house in San Diego. I was very close to my parents, both physically and emotionally. Like, it was just like, I kind of, it was my golden moment. And then like I was pregnant with my second kid, really looking forward to it because it was going to be a girl. I was going to have a boy and a girl, and everything was going to be picture perfect. And the birth itself was like so fast and intense, but not painful,
Hmm.
which I could never have imagined that being a possibility after going through natural childbirth the first time. Like, really, not painful? Are you kidding me? But it wasn't. It was really intense. It was and it was trippy. Like, I really felt altered. And after giving birth to Clarice, I felt like I was wide open and I could see and hear energies. I could speak to the dead. I could sense angels or angelic presences. And of course, these are metaphors for a lot of things that what are angels really? I don't know, but this is experiencing guides to me and this profound loving embrace of the feeling of God I'd always known as a Catholic was like intensified and made so accessible. And then I could also sense all these other spirits, entities, like all this stuff all at once. And I didn't really have a framework for it because I'd never studied metaphysics or like, I didn't know what this was, but inherently, I'd been trained as a lawyer. So I started inherently and sort of in my own world making systems to work with everybody. So I'm like, okay, all you dead people, like, unless you have something interesting to say to me, go over there, like, go to heaven, move along. And then the angels, I'm like, whoa, you guys are powerful. I'm asking for your help. You're part of my team. Um, some of this other stuff, whatever entities and visitors and la la la. I'm like, no, just like I would random people trying to walk through my house. I'd be like, no, I don't know you, So I started making all this stuff. But honestly, on the in the outer world, what that looked like was I had completely changed. And I had the excuse, fortunately, of having a tiny newborn. So I had the excuse of kind of staying home from church, and staying home and just kind of being private about what's happening in my field. And I kind of thought, well, this will calm down after the birth. This is one of those crazy hormonal things that happens after giving birth. But no, once that door was open, it was not going to shut. And instead, I had more messages, visitations, and healing abilities, energies that wanted to channel through me. And I only let energies channel through me that are in the highest good, because I always been a woman of faith. So I know what God and love feel like, and nothing else was welcome in my world. So I didn't have problems with those good and bad boundaries. I felt pretty clear about that. But after a while, I recognized this isn't going away. And I started to share and confide. I had to confide with my closest people. And my husband, who is an engineer, really good guy, but definitely not a spiritualist, he was kind of freaked out by it. And my parents were really concerned, mostly my mom, because she was a very conservative minded Catholic, and she was worried for me. And so it was rough. Like it got to one point where my mom thought maybe I needed an exorcism. But even the priest was like, well, is there evil happening with whatever she's up to? Oh, no, 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 she's healing people. The priest is like, well, then I'm not sure she needs an exorcism. So it was so odd, I guess, is what I wanted to highlight here. It was so much not a part of my world. I really hadn't believed in things like astrology and all that kind of hoo-ha. Like, I thought it was total hoo-ha, until it was so obviously part of a system that I just hadn't understood before. And I still can't claim that I understand the whole system of all the invisible world. But after 25, 26 years now of living as an intuitive, wow, it makes so much sense now that I've integrated in it. It's like, oh, well, yeah. In fact, everybody has some of these feelings, and everybody has some of this awareness. But back then, it felt like my whole life was blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was completely, I can't say it was destabilizing, because inside of myself, it was like, oh, that makes sense. It was stabilizing. Inside myself, it was like, oh, good. Now we see this again. Like, oh, this is a familiar and inspiring and real to me inside myself. But in my friend group, which was all anchored in my church, I was a leader in my Catholic church. I was the lead person for the Catholic married couples group. And I, was at the lectern every other Sunday, and I was playing my guitar and singing in the choir, every week. And it's like my whole world. So, woof, awakening adventures indeed.
Right.
An
Yeah.
adventure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask you, like, how did it change your day-to-day life? But what I'd actually like to ask is, how did you adjust your day-to-day life? Like, how did you go from being a lawyer to being psychic, kind of in like your everyday life?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it happened pretty fast because my brain was different. And I couldn't look at the detailed contract stuff anymore. Like, I couldn't responsibly do that. I very much identified with that book, A Stroke of Insight, by the scientist who, had a stroke. While she was having a stroke, she could see, oh, yes, the logical part of my brain is shutting down, and this more expansive part is opening up. And now I can't track like I used to. And I felt very much like that. I was like, whoops, I can't do my career.
Right.
And, but I have access to guides, to this invisible team. So I kept looking to them like business partners and going, all right, y'all, like if I can't practice law, what are we doing? What are
Right.
we doing? And they're like, well, now we can help you, provide clearing, provide clarity. Like we can help you, we can partner with you and give people high value stuff. And I was like, all right, let's try that, you know? And I learned how to do a drum journey, how to use the drum to drop into an even deeper state, and then to do clearings and healings and stuff inside that state, and then to come out. So the drum journey aspect helped me turn it on, turn it down. I can't say off, but turn it down, or like have kind of a doorway to enter to work with people and then to step out of and create structure. And so I started doing sessions for people, and that paid the bills. Like that paid the mortgage. I mean, it was relatively easy because my guides just kept bringing me people sort of miraculously and mysteriously before I even had any marketing or business, blah blah blah. It was just kind of swift. And then I noticed that I could open myself and channel information, that I could download information through me and put it through my voice, through my own brain translator, and make sense of it. So I started teaching classes that way. I thought, well, there's some stuff I want to learn, like the ancient arts of the temple priestess. So that's one of the things my guides were like, you've taught this many times in many lifetimes, and now you're going to teach it here. And I'm like, but I don't know it. And they're like, not a problem. Just open up your channel and we'll bring that information through. And so I taught that. And, I would like record it and then listen to it afterwards. Like I'd channel it to my circle of students and then afterwards listen to it myself, to learn in my conscious mind those same things. And it provided a lovely way of not being a guru, but of being a channel who's also learning alongside of others. And I did that for some years. And that community, then there were other people who had learned with me that then took up their own mantle. And pretty soon people are like, I'm teaching, the priestess arts in the lineage of Mellissa Seaman. I'm like, well, I got a lineage. Like I didn't ask for a lineage. I didn't look for a lineage, but I was like, well, I guess kind of is, because they learned stuff through what channeled through me. And then they embodied it, and then they went and taught other circles. And so we had hundreds of women who were trained within this community, and again, trained is a weird word because it's a lot of remembrance. It's a lot of creating the space for, in that case, women to remember their spiritual leadership arts. And it's like you remember it in your body when you're in a circle where it's embodied. You just get the transmission and remember. So I've been involved with people, smart, grounded people who are also awakening to their spiritual abilities and gifts for 26 years now. And like I've learned some things about that process by witnessing and supporting and doing it myself, layer by layer, upgrade by upgrade, initiation by initiation. And I don't mean initiation in some secret society. I just mean the initiations that come from spirit and also from life, that season us and teach us and upgrade our abilities, upgrade our integrity, upgrade our humility, like all the things that are necessary to be channels of genius, gifted, like responsible with the gifts we're given.
So what was like some way or ways that you kind of stayed grounded as your awareness was expanding?
Um, it helped a lot when I got mentors. At first, I was just like so alone and floating in all this stuff and, figuring it out for myself, but also feeling lonely in it and kind of sometimes like kind of smart about it, like sometimes kind of, arrogant in it, because I had no framework that made this normal. And so I did. Sometimes I was probably pretty impossible. And that's probably why my parents, part of why they were so concerned, is because I was kind of hot on myself and look at, I have special gifts and you couldn't understand. And like, all those things that we do, until there's a mentor to go, hey, knock it off. Everybody's gifted in their own way. Yes, you're special. So is everyone else. So knock it off. And meeting Maria Yesbrew, who's my Apache teacher, was instrumental in that, because she really normalized the whole thing. And she's like, your people are freaked out about your talking to spirit guides. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, meh, in my family, if you weren't hearing your guides by the time you were 13, we were worried about you. I'm like, oh, okay. This isn't like, I'm not the first person to have this experience, and it doesn't mean something bad.
Right.
It means that I'm in tune with something that's actually intrinsic and important and useful. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you. That's great. And so, how do you, or maybe just some high level um, bullet points, how do you help people with their own awakening process as a mentor?
Yeah, from witnessing and supporting people for 26 years, and because I have a systems mind, I've mapped it out. This path that for me and so many of us along the way has just been like confounding and sometimes disorienting and confusing or overwhelming. Um, one of my main goals has always been to sort of map it out so that people feel like there's a map, but also not a constraining map, not a map of dogma, religion, like not a map like it must happen like this or you're damned to hell. Ah, like, no, a map that's loose enough to apply to all of us, but specific enough to help us go step to step to step to step. And that's what I've been developing over these decades, and with Maria's help, because Maria Yesbrew grew up in an Apache family on the land on the White Mountains Reservation with an intact traditional cosmology. An intact traditional cosmology. There's so many folks that I know who are native, full blood native. They don't have access to the full cosmology that their grandparents knew. It's gone. It was beaten out of them. It was genocided out of them. And they miss it too. And so the fact that Maria actually it has a continuance and that she has access to the entire system was so amazing to me, and still is precious, amazing. Like we should be holding her. We should be, and she is also of an open-minded place where she welcomes people to learn from her, even the full complexity of the cosmology. And she also encourages us to translate it and use it in our own ways. And this is so, it's profound, and it's a deep responsibility, and it's so useful. And so the system that I've developed and that I now use in the program you're in and my other programs, like it's all that goes by the same map, which is this wheel of wisdom that points to the different archetypes that happen in a certain order in the way that creation moves. And it's mapped out simply enough that we can focus on one archetype every month and get through the totality of what's essentially a medicine wheel of wholeness. And Maria's helped me to make that system so that it's still founded in the truth that exists in every wisdom tradition about these archetypes and about the way energy moves, but it's accessible and easy for everybody to understand, because that has been a difficulty with bringing traditional wisdom forward, is that traditional wisdom is often very place specific. It's very, very detailed. And there's a beauty in that. And Maria teaches that, and it's incredible. But many of us who are part of a fast-paced modern world, we're never going to have the space or the calling to learn over 10 years the details of such a beautiful system. We need something that we can integrate in our lives as leaders and move on. And so that's what I've tried to create. So that's that map, that system, this, the wheel of wisdom that I'm showing if you're watching video right now. It's a map of those archetypes according to the months, according to the energies of the seasons in the northern hemisphere, according to the natural cycles. And that one piece is a profound support for people that are awakening, because it takes away the overwhelming part. It gives you something to focus on. It gives you community that's all doing it together, so you don't feel like you're doing it alone. And it gives you a system that's still wide enough that no matter what your soul gift is, no matter what your unique form of genius is, it still fits. Everybody fits, everybody can share this map. And so that's a big one, in addition to like, oh, of course I do oracular readings for people. I can tell you your purpose and what business you should be doing and how, and like, I can give you good feedback as a mentor and a reader and all that stuff. But I feel like my legacy is actually more the system that now hundreds of people are coming together around and going, okay, this we can grok, this we can follow. This makes it more understandable, this whole process of awakening. It's happening in a rhythm. It's happening through different parts of us. We can track it, we can map it, we can empower it without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's great. And I studied with the Cherokee, or sorry, not Cherokee. I think he was Apache shaman as well, and the medicine wheel and all those things. But it kind of, at the time, I wasn't ready for it. And that with you, with the wheel of wisdom, I can honestly say that it's helped me in those months where, because I'm an active creator, like I'm always high energy, high creating. Um, that's my jam. I love being in that space. But when I had those months where it was like everybody got quiet and the universe went silent, like literally the universe seemed to go silent for me for like 4 months. Seeing the cycles now, it just gave me a lot of like peace and ease. It wasn't like my team deserted me or left me. They were just saying, now's not the time, right? So, um,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
that's been really wonderful to have that kind of re-implemented in my life. So thank you
That's
for that.
so great. Yeah, and that's such a great example of when you when we don't have some support, a supportive structure and path map to follow, and maybe a mentor who has our back, like going without new clients for 3 months could feel like a complete failure to us. And then we can get brutal on ourselves. But if you have somebody who's actually tracking the map who goes, yeah, you're not really supposed to be getting clients these 3 months. These are for clearing out. What have you cleared? And you're like, oh my God, I've cleared so much. Okay, how's your relationship? Oh, right. Yeah, we've healed a bunch of stuff with the relationship. Right. Oh, so noticing that there's all this work that gets done for business owners, for leaders, for professionals. It's not just about when is their net profit flow. It's also about when did we just fix a system that's been broken and pinching us for a long time. And now we're going to see the flow from that. So I know you get it. Your vibrational flow system tracks these things too. Like, oh, this is where there's actually a block. It's a hidden block. We don't talk about it. We don't see it. And so when you've got a map or a system like yours, oh, it's like finally we have the words to just track it, map it, address it, be patient, notice what's right timing. And look at you, like you had a quiet period, and then here we are in the adventurer, and the energies are the adventurer archetype this month. And boom, you just made a sale, like one phone call, one sale. Like that's how it is when everything's aligned. It's boom, boom. And And if it's not aligned, then we actually want to get the stuff aligned, not
Right.
just push and berate ourselves. And, you know,
Mm.
unfortunately, most of business culture just tracks the one rubric, which is net profit. Everything else doesn't seem to matter. But
Yeah.
that's if it's like having blinders on and trying to race. It doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Yeah. And you have to give yourself that space sometimes too, like you said, to let things go, but to also like let the seeds germinate. Like
Yeah,
let that
exactly.
little seed
Yeah.
reach for the sun,
Yeah.
reach for the light, but it takes
Yeah.
some time, so that's
Totally.
all.
Totally.
So
There are times where I've had clients, they get a session with me, and then 3 years later, they're back on my doorstep and they're saying, yeah, I've been working with that session for the last 3 years. And now I'm ready to step into mentorship with you. I'm just like, wow, cool. It's everybody has different timing, and you don't know what it takes for the people that you're here to lead or support or work with. You don't know what it takes for them to be ready to step into profound work
yeah,
like what you're offering. Don't underestimate it. When you do work like we do, which is transformational, you're not just like selling toothpaste, like, hey, you've got teeth, you need toothpaste, here's some toothpaste. Like, it's not simple. It's like, hey, I'm about to rock your world and open up your abundance quotient and align you with the deep purpose your soul came here to do when it birthed through your mother. Ready? That's like intense. That's
yeah.
intense. It's okay if people aren't ready for that yet.
Right.
It might take a minute.
Which is something I really love about you is when I first met you, I did not get a chance to listen to your channel at that summit that we were at, but you handed me your the soul gift quiz, right?
Mhm.
Um, for those of you listening, soulgiftquiz.com. And it's a great place to start because that actually taught me a bunch about myself that I knew, but nobody had ever labeled it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say labeled, but like gave me a
Named it. Yeah.
context,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
to understand like why, some things were difficult for me because of kind of the way that I was approaching things the way everybody else was doing it, but
Yeah.
that's not my soul gift. And my soul gift requires me to be different, to be me, right? And
Totally.
um, so such a great thank you for offering that. It's free if you guys want to take it, but it's a great way to like tap into just get started with finding out what are your soul gifts,
Yeah.
and then she has some great follow-up emails that tell you like how to use that, and so please check that out when you have a chance.
Yeah.
Is there one thing that you would wish somebody had told you back when you first started, when you first awakened?
Yeah, I guess I wish there was someone there right away to say, you're not changing away from who you are. You
Mm,
are revealing who you are.
mm,
And, to put it in soul gift language, I was always educated and encouraged to be a creator soul gift, the ones that understand systems and money and business structures, critical information, analytical thinking. I was trained in that, right? I was my class valedictorian, and then I went to Stanford, and then I went to law school. It's like I was trained to be an analyst,
mm,
but that's never what I was in my essence.
mm,
And that's why I felt lonely. And even though I was lauded and applauded for all that stuff, it never felt like I was seen.
mm,
Actually, I'm a messenger transmitter type, like on the soul gift quiz, which means I am here to translate wisdom, and I'm a deep sensitive. If someone were there when I had my accidental awakening to say, Mellissa, You're not stopping being who you are by opening your intuition. You are actually revealing who you've always been as a sensitive channel of wisdom. That's what you've always been. And you've been trained in the arts of analysis, strategy, to the point of law school.
Right.
But what you are is this sort of prophet type, a humble instrument that wisdom pours through to benefit other people. That's what you actually are. And so all this stuff that seems like this adventure and awakening, you're not going anywhere. You haven't gone anywhere else. You're actually just coming into where you actually are, where you've always been, to where your soul and your heart have been abiding secretly this whole time inside of the shell that was the good girl, gifted child, lawyer.
Mm.
And so, I mean, that's part of why I created that soul gift quiz, is because it shows people who take it like, oh, I've always thought I'm this one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm this. And when you
Yep.
realize what you actually are, like there's a relief
Totally.
and a sense of, okay, this thing that I'm calling awakening or whatever, it doesn't have to be some big dramatic 90-degree shift. It's not. It's just an unveiling. It's a maturing, it's a maturation of knowing my own intrinsic leadership power, how it moves, what it gives, who it's for, why certain people dig it and why certain people do not dig it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I had the same experience. I took it and I was like, oh, I thought I was a messenger. It's like
Oh,
trying to be a messenger, And I'm like, hmm,
yeah.
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 So what would maybe be some advice that you could give somebody who maybe just had a spiritual awakening, feels like they'd like a spiritual awakening, like kind of in that curious, like what's happening, what would you give what advice would you give them?
Yeah. My first piece of advice is devote yourself in whole to the highest good.
Mm, that's beautiful.
Devote yourself to the highest good and be willing to talk to spirit or to work with spirit in ways that are in the highest good only. And I'm saying this because some people start being aware of their intuitive hits or even spirits or whatever, and they're just like, they open up to everything. It's like pulling out a Ouija board and just going, who wants to talk to me? Oh, no, please, God, no. Like, call in what is holy to you,
Mm,
call in what is in the highest and best good for everybody. And now you're going to be working with the right energies as an intuitive. It's just a rookie mistake. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, sorceress, whatever, blah blah blah. It's a rookie mistake. It's the same as like, getting on the subway in New York and going, who wants to be my best friend? Like, no, be discerning. Be discerning. You don't know who's on that car in the subway. Like, be discerning. So that's my primary piece for someone who's just like starting to have feelings or intuitive hits and or visitations or channeling or whatever. Like, slow down and devote yourself what's to the highest good. And as you do that, there is you do end up sacrificing this idea that I'm so special and I can do whatever I want to do. And you have to sacrifice that part.
mm,
And if you don't, then you can get into all sorts of shenanigans that you don't want to be a part of.
yeah.
But if you devote yourself to the highest and act in accordance with that, you've got this incredible invisible family and team and ancestors who are waiting to collaborate with you in ways that you naturally collaborate.
Mm,
And you don't have to find a religion or a teacher that gives you a bunch of strict rules that don't sound right to you. Like, you can do this in your own way with teachers who will honor your unique way, but also call you out if you start going off the ego track or something.
right. You're spinning up.
It's like, uh-oh, look at you. Dun, dun, dun. We're just gonna help pull you back into center. Yeah, because it's
That's
definitely an
wonderful.
adventure, this awakening thing. It is an adventure with
Yeah.
some pitfalls, with some winding paths, with some obstacles, with all the things that you have in life, you also have in the path of awakening. And so stay grounded, you know, stay grounded and devoted to what's right, to what's good.
Yep. All for the highest and best good. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know today, Mellissa?
I'd love to know what your soul gift is. Go take the soul gift quiz, SOUL giftquiz.com. And like Venus says, it's fun. It takes 2 minutes to take the quiz. It's like one of those fun little quizzes. And then, but from that, um, I'll know something about your deepest gift, and I'll send you a sequence of emails that reveals what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are in relationship, in work, and health. Like each one of these soul gifts has their own unique challenges and strengths. I want to reflect that for you. And if at any point you're like, I want to talk to Mellissa, like I want more information, just write me back from any of those emails. I'd love to hear from you.
That's great. And we will, it is soulgiftquiz.com, but we will, of course, include the link below. Thank you, Mellissa. This has been just a wonderful conversation. Thank you for always sharing your heart, your vulnerability, and just your truth that invites us to serve for the highest and greatest good. I
Oh, my
appreciate it so
pleasure,
much.
Venus. Thanks for having me here.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please subscribe, like, share. If you receive something from this episode, we want people to know they're not alone as we all begin to awaken to a new reality. And if you know anyone that has a home with some weird stuff going on, please send them to the free homeclearingquiz.com. So grateful for you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye.